So you could say that balance and equilibrium are the same thing. I'm going to tease them apart and say that what I mean by balance is some dynamic capacity to continually adapt. One of my yoga teachers is Alison West, and she said years ago that balance was that when we're balanced, we have the ability to fall in any direction. And that what makes us not balanced is that we can only fall in one direction. So that cultivating balance is cultivating the ability to fall in any direction. And if I can fall equally in all directions, I don't fall. Falling is one direction being privileged over the others, which was a huge concept. I was like, oh. And clearly, because I've been talking about it for 15 years now. So, but that idea that, and certainly before that, I had this idea of like not falling being balanced. And it changed everything to think, well, if I fall in all directions and I don't choose one, then I'm in this much more dynamic state of all possibilities being available. And then I might make a choice, and then I'll be falling, or I'll be walking, or I'll be going somewhere. And now it has a lot of resonance because I'm really interested in embryology, which is this process of going from incredible potency to more and more discrimination, and that idea of having all choices available, and then we go down a path and something becomes mesoderm or endoderm or ectoderm, or it's this transformation process. And that process of dynamic potential continues in our body. So homeostasis, the functionality of our systems, is in their ability to dynamically relate to each other, not in the ability to maintain one state. The range of things that are functional for homeostasis in our body is a pretty narrow range. The range of, relatively speaking, we can't survive at any temperature. We can survive at a pretty wide temperature. We can't survive at any range of heart rate, but there is a range of heart rates we can survive at. The pH balance in our blood is a pretty narrow range, but part of what makes it functional is that within that limited range, it needs to be changeable. It's important, I think, also in the idea of homeostasis to recognize that it's not just okay for things to be dynamic, it's actually necessary. That part of the definition of health within this range, within this idea of homeostasis, is that the variability is part of the functionality. That if something is fixed at the same amount and is unable to adapt, it's fixed at the same amount or the same rate. If it is unable to adapt, we will not survive. Or survival will get harder. So our blood pressure is supposed to be variable. If our blood pressure can't accommodate our changes in level, then it's not functional. In a similar way, our heart rate needs to be variable. Right? That if our heart rate is perfectly steady, that's actually an indicator of a lack of ease in the body. And now they're finding out it's a sign, it's an indicator that disease will come, that there will be heart issues or cardiovascular issues, or potentially. Right? So the lack of variability in the heart rate, its inability to change in response to things, is an indicator that there's something not working right. Which I think is really interesting in our idea that if we could achieve a state and maintain it, we'll be just fine. I think it's kind of pervasive that if I could just get this way and be this way, I could just get calm, if I could just get happy, if I could just breathe slowly, if I could just slow down my heart rate, if I could just, where in fact, in this really dynamic view of this, it's about being able to adapt and being able to be responsive. Being able to be in relationship, which means being able to, having the capacity for change.